Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner. This is going to be your chance for about 10 minutes of one-on-one with me. I've recently gotten a pretty in-depth question over and over and over again from a lot of our clients. And for those of you who don't know the process or have never done an in-depth, or I call it a deep dive, that first session with me, it's a pretty pants pulling down moment where I kind of dissect your life, sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress, and then that social relationship concept. And that's kind of the way we go about training. And when it comes to nutrition, everyone turns around and goes, "Oh, I eat pretty well. Oh, yeah, I think about protein. I don't snack." We really get to the nitty gritty of it. Most people do not have a handle on their nutrition. And what do I mean by that? People know what the textbook says, they know what to tell me. "Yeah, I eat chicken and broccoli for dinner." Okay, how much? When? What did you have the rest of the day that made that happen? And I think I really need to decipher or break down the complex puzzle of nutrition and kind of what you're putting into your body at like a beginner's crash course. Now, what does that mean? I boiled it down kind of to this concept. Calories, that is pure weight. That is weight up or weight down. That's all we're thinking about with calories. I eat more calories, I gain weight. I eat less calories, I lose weight. And I know that's a super reduced mentality, but at the end of the day, that's all calories are. Macros are going to be where we get into the physique. While we're gaining or losing weight, are we fluffy? Are we muscular? Are we toning? Are we bulking? Macros are going to be how you build out the actual concept of the physique of the body, right? And last but not least, we talk about micronutrients. And micronutrients are going to be how you feel. And what I've noticed is a lot of people understand the very first part. Well, I eat less to lose weight. I eat more to gain weight. But then they think that just eating a little bit less is going to turn them into Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, well, take out the PEDs. Think about the nutrient timing he did, how he worked it into his recovery, when he was spiking his blood sugar and lowering it, when he was taking in high amounts of protein versus carbohydrates. Did he fluctuate that level going into a competition? And when we start to break it down, all of those points that I just said had different levels of micro, macro, and caloric intake fluctuating that creates what you then call a nutritional plan. So stepping back, when I meet somebody first and they're like, "Oh, I need to look like this said movie star." Well, okay. First things first, can we get them to lose weight? That's my first kind of marker for myself. Can I tweak their calories enough to just see the scale start to move? Because remember, it's a long, slow haul. So if I can get you to lose weight, if I can get you to start to trip that scale, then I say to myself, can I make small tweaks that allow us to get a little more protein? Maybe I see that they trend towards fattier foods. Can I pull back on fat, increase carbohydrate? Vice versa. They're very much into carbohydrate. Can I pull back on carbohydrate-based meals? Maybe not getting so much sugar in at the end of the day, right? All of a sudden, that now creates your macronutrient profile as I'm seeing the weight scale down. And then last but not least, we think about the actual makeup of the plate in terms of, are we varying our colors of greens? Are we getting different carbohydrates, different types of meats, and then supplementation? That goes into the micronutrients. And it's kind of like a pyramid concept. You don't worry about the micronutrients if you can't monitor your calories. If you're overeating like a cow, you're not going to really worry about what the minutia of weight loss or weight gain looks like, because you need to realistically spend your energy managing your caloric intake. And then from there, we think about managing our macronutrients, right? The big boys. And then last but not least, the icing on the cake is the micronutrients. And the funny part is once you start to really manage the macros, the micros come along with it. And we're realistically just plugging in missing links. So let's take that one step farther. And now I'm going to coach you, whoever's watching this, right, on your first steps in nutrition. And what I like to do, I don't believe in the calculations, all of the different BMR calculations and the things that come from all the nutritional textbooks. They are habitually wrong. And why is that? They are a generalization. They try and be as accurate as they can with generalized theoretical data, right? So it's going to take activity level, it's going to take gender, it's going to take height, weight, and age. That stuff matters. But at the end of the day, that doesn't take into account your sleep schedule. Doesn't take into account realistically the on and off days in terms of how hard you're working. It doesn't take into account whether or not you're a construction worker who barely can get to the gym or you're a librarian who goes to the gym and absolutely crushes it. Doesn't take in account your ability or inability to eat appropriately. Doesn't take into account stress, doesn't take into account social relationships. And all of a sudden, these equations, while they can kind of like start the ball, I've noticed to be a lot of times wrong. And I know that's an opinion thing, that's on me. But that's the way I coach nutrition. There's a reason my clients have success and the reason I have success. So I'm going to get you to track your calories. And I know calorie counting sucks, but I use MyFitnessPal and I just get someone to literally for 2 weeks, 10 days, track everything you eat. Every single thing that goes into your body, unbiased, just write it down, put it into the calculator. I'll take care of the rest. That's going to give us kind of an overall average of your caloric intake as well as trends for macros. And I will use women as an example. What we habitually see is you eat 800 calories, 800 calories, 1700 calories, 1200 calories, 800 calories, 1700 calories, 1200 calories. Great. And then also we see habitually way too low protein. I'm talking like half to like 0.4, where we need to be at least 0.6 grams in terms of body weight for just functions. 0.8 is where we start to see like real, that's times, it's 0.8 grams times body weight in pounds to see real change moving forward. And then that scale changes depending on your goals. But we see women at about half what they really should be. And what does that mean? Well, right off the gate, I'm seeing your caloric intake is all over the place. So first things first, your body operates like a conveyor belt, right? So if you imagine, let's make a little diagram here. If, right, you're eating, here's my happy little girl, right? And we imagine her digestive tract from the mouth, and it's a big snake all the way down to your feet, right? So what ends up happening is when you eat, that's going to slowly trickle down, right? And it takes 24, 36 hours to really pass everything through. Well, when I eat just a little bit, this thing starts to feel really good. Well, then I eat a really big meal that this thing struggles to process. The problem that we face when we see that caloric fluctuation like that is basically it bogs down your metabolism and then you get smacked with different hunger states. I know there's all sorts of different dietary theories. Some people preach you can eat 2 meals a day. Some people preach you can do a caloric fluctuation like this. If you're coaching it with specific metrics, specific ideals, and specific like data, great. But for the average Joe watching this, you're trying to break your meals. If I need to eat 2,000 calories in a day, you're trying to break your meals up into 3 to 4 even meals. Stop making it so hard on yourself. No, it's not perfect. There are other ways to do things depending on what your needs are. However, for my coaching, I always teach just calm, steady, and consistent. From there, we talked about your caloric fluctuation and your macros when we look at protein. That's the first way that I kind of staple somebody in. I say, okay, I'm going to take the average caloric intake, and this is a weight loss client, and I'm going to minus 100, 150, depending on what that looks like. So for the sake of argument, we have all those numbers all over the place. 1,500 calories is going to be Debbie's caloric number over those 10 days. I'm going to give her 1,350 for the first 7 to 10 days. And I'm going to see how she does. Are you dizzy? Are you tired? Lack of energy? Lots of energy? Can't sleep? Pooping a lot? Not pooping at all? Diarrhea? You name it. And what I'm looking for is as I start to fluctuate calories a little bit, I'm seeing if the body reacts adversely. And the cool part about this is when you find the right number, for me, it's 2,350. Every number under the sun says I should be eating all sorts of different caloric numbers above 3,500 to 4,000. When I go to lose weight, it's like 3,200. It does not work for me. That is not the way my metabolism works. You could argue my metabolism's beaten up. You could argue that numbers are wrong. You could argue all sorts of things. It doesn't work. I eat 2,350 and the weight falls off of me. I feel great. My digestive tract is great. Bathroom time is great. And I'm lifting better than ever. So you can't tell me it's wrong. I look for that same stimuli from the clients. So can you hit your 1,350 for Debbie? And can you, and I pin her protein goal in first. So can you hit, let's say she's a 100-pound woman eating 1,350. I'm just picking numbers. I like to coach women to try and hit 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's on the higher side for women. but I like to shoot for the stars, get the moon, right? And I want to see you, especially because I'm coaching weightlifting, I'm coaching strength, and we want women to build, right? I'm trying to get her in that mindset of protein is good, eating is good. How she gets her protein, I am not one to tell you you should be vegan, vegetarian. I am carnivore and love every second of it. You do you, but you should be able to get me calories and you should be able to get me protein. I don't care how else you fill that in. After you show me those numbers and we start to see if whether or not the calories fluctuate, the weight fluctuates. After we see whether or not the weight fluctuates, I will then play by 25 or 50 calories every week to 10 days. We need to give time for the metabolism to adjust, but over time, you should start to lose weight. The same thing can be said for gaining weight. Debbie wants to put on weight. 1,500 calories is her average. I'm going to put her at 1,650. Let's eat 1 gram per pound of body weight and see if she gains weight. And if she doesn't gain weight, I'm going to add 25 to 50 calories. I'm not adding 1,000. I'm not adding 500. Men are a little bit different. You'll have a little bit bigger of a caloric window. You're usually more like 250 to 300 calories at a chunk. I'll do, if I'm trying to gain weight, it'll be like a 500 calorie chunk, but I'm 6'6" and 250. When I go to gain weight, it is 3,500 to 4,000 calories. So the point of that was to kind of address how are we actually managing nutrition, calories, macros, micros. And then from there, I wanted to give you kind of the quick snippet into how I manage your numbers to get you to see a stimuli or get you to see results. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out. Look forward to talking again.